Hi everybody, this is Roxy, your Fire Wife Lawyer Mom, and today we're going to talk all about family subjects for the homeschool year 2022-2023, so stay tuned.
You set my world on fire.
Hey everybody, welcome to Fire Wife Lawyer Mom. Thanks so much for clicking onto this video. And today I'm really excited to share with you our family subjects for the 2022-2023 school year. If you love these videos and if they bless you, please make sure to hit the subscribe button and hit the like and comment. It really helps my channel, and I would love for you guys to be part of the Fire Wife Lawyer Mom family, that I am continually able to be a resource for you guys for homeschooling content, mom life, and all sorts of things. But today we're going to talk specifically about family subjects. Now, a lot of people always wonder, what are family subjects? Family subjects are subjects that you teach as a family. Pretty simple, right? Well, kind of a little bit of a further explanation on that. So there are certain subjects that us homeschoolers like to teach as a family. So we like to have everyone gathered around the table learning together. And so there are certain subjects that allow you to be able to teach multiple ages. And so I love that, because then it's much easier for me to, number one, not have to buy an extra curriculum for each of my children. Number two, and not have to plan lessons for each of my children. So we like to, in our homeschool, aside from the core subjects, we like to combine both of our girls to learn together. And so we find that there are certain subjects that really make it easy to do that. And so for us, our family subjects we do on Fridays. So Fridays, we call it Fun Friday, Family Subject Friday. And we like to focus on our family subjects all on one day. So it's done and taken care of, and we make sure we find time for it. So for our family subjects this year, we are going to be covering science, art, and world history. I'm going to show you guys what curriculum we're going to be using for each of those subjects. The first one is world history. So for world history, we are going to be going with Story of the World. Story of the World. Now, we love Story of the World. It is one of my favorite curriculums that I've ever seen. Even from when I started homeschooling, we used Story of the World. And it's a great curriculum, especially if you have multiple ages, because this curriculum is really equipped to keep your kids at all ages to be engaged. And I really love that. It's a very open and go curriculum, and I'm going to kind of go into a little bit about it. So what it is Story of the World is basically a story-based history curriculum. So you learn the history of the world through stories, through different stories. And so you have one textbook that is divided into chapters, which basically take you from certain periods of history. And it's a very chronological approach. It goes, from one thing that happened to another thing that happened, and then, it kind of really goes through a timeline of events in that time period. And this curriculum is actually divided, I believe, into 4 volumes. We started our first homeschool year with ancient civilizations, which was pretty much like the beginning of time, where we had nomads that, were roaming around, and they kind of went from there to like the Egyptian civilizations, all of that. So we're going to be starting this year with volume 2, the Middle Ages, which starts at the fall of Rome to the rise of the Renaissance period. And so I really love history taught this way, because one of the things that I noticed when my kids were in school is that history is oftentimes taught piecemeal. So it's taught kind of like in little pieces of like one event here, one event there. And so it's really hard for kids to be able to gain a full picture of history and how it developed and how everything related to one another. So I love Story of the World for that reason. Now, we tried a different curriculum last year for history, and we kind of just kept coming back to Story of the World. We were very frustrated with the other curriculum, because this is just laid out so beautifully that it's kind of hard to pass up. So it comes with the text, which basically has all of the stories inside, each divided by chapter. And you can also purchase a CD where you have a narrator that's actually narrating this book for you. I love that because especially like at the end of the day when my voice is tired from reading aloud, it's a great way for mom to have a rest. And we really love the narrator of the story of the world. He's pretty engaging, and the kids really like him. So we use the CD for sure. It also comes with an optional test and answer key. So this would be if you want to have, if let's say you have an older student, maybe your middle schooler or high schooler, and you want to actually give them tests, this is already done for you, which is awesome, an awesome resource as well. And it comes with a workbook. Now, I tore out the binding of the workbook that it came with because I separated the student pages with the teacher manual because it comes all together. And I can do a separate video on how I organize Story of the World. If you want to see that, please leave a comment below. But it basically comes with a teacher manual that is broken up into each lesson, and it gives you really cool discussion questions based on each chapter. And you have also like review questions, you have narration exercises, like if you want to give them a narration question for them to narrate back to you what happened in the chapter. It also has copywork sentences that you can give your child. So what I like to do with this is give my second grader a little easier of a copywork sentence, and then my older daughter gets a little bit more difficult, kind of more of a summary based copywork sentence where it summarizes in greater depth the chapter. It also has map work, which I love map work because it's really important for kids to kind of know when they are listening to a story in history, to know where that actually occurred in history and how that relates to the rest of the world. It also comes with a coloring page, which I love for the little ones. We basically have them sit down, listen to the story, and color at the same time. So it keeps their hands busy and also keeps them engaged in listening to the read aloud. It also has some project ideas that you can do that have to do with the theme of the chapter that you are reading. Now, we really try to do these activities, but for the most part, it's really hard for me to do them. That's the only kind of downside of Story of the World, if I were to have one, is I think the activities are a little bit too complex. They don't really use materials that you can find commonly in your house. So a lot of times the projects are great, but I don't have the materials for them, or they take way too much time. So that's something that, you know, maybe they could work on, hopefully. But other than that, it is really a great comprehensive curriculum. And you could supplement this. Like, you could get a lot of history encyclopedias and all other kinds of things, which they also reference here as well, that you can use to supplement what you are listening to in the stories. Also, there are YouTube videos that really help to enhance each of these chapters as well. So I will link in the description box below some of the YouTube videos that we use with Story of the World. And if there's anything else that you kind of want to know about it, let me know, and I can also do a flip through as well. So that's what we're going to be using for world history. Also, for history, we're going to kind of sparingly sprinkle in some read alouds. And two of the read alouds that I bought these books actually like when I started homeschooling, and I've never used them. So we're gonna try to use them this year. And that is the History Stories for Children. This is really cool because it comes with like little stories about history. And it's fun because it like kind of starts telling you the story, but then it doesn't like give you exactly what the historical event is until the end. So the kids are kind of oftentimes waiting until the end and be like, oh wow, that was the Boston Tea Party, or oh wow, that was, you know, the first Christmas song that was when the shepherds were in the fields, you know, before Christ was, or when Christ was born. So it's really a cute little book. It has like short little stories. They're really about like 2 pages, 2 to 3 pages or so. So I like to start my history stuff, like before we go into the story of the world, I like to start with a little read aloud just to kind of warm everybody up and get everyone kind of sitting down. We do have our history lesson right after lunch, so this kind of helps me to kind of get them a little bit more moving and before we dive into our actual curriculum. The other read aloud that I want to try to incorporate is A Little History of the World. Now this one, I believe I got from a recommendation from Susan Wise Bauer, and it also includes, like, you know, just different history stories. It's a little bit longer, but it's cool because it does have like some maps that also refer to each of the historical events and things like that. So we are definitely going to try and see if we can incorporate this as well into our history. For science this year, we are going to kind of be shifting from life science to earth science. So our first 2 years of homeschooling, we really wanted to focus on the life sciences. So we went ahead and did, you know, we studied animals, we studied, you know, mammals and marine biology, and we studied we went into the human body. We also studied botany, all about plants. We studied birds in our last semester of last year. We did our bird study. And so we really focused on the life sciences, but now I'm really excited to show my children the earth sciences. And with our earth science, we're going to be using 2 things. The first one is kind of a spine curriculum, because one of the things that we've always used for science has been the Good and the Beautiful unit studies. And I absolutely love the unit studies, and we're definitely going to be doing them this year. But I wanted to get some kind of a textbook that focused on earth science, but gave me like an overview of everything of earth science, so that I can kind of give my kids an overview and then deep dive with each of the Good and the Beautiful curriculums that I've chosen to kind of enhance what we are learning from the spine curriculum. So let's get to what the spine is. My spine curriculum for science is going to be Foundations of Science, Earth, Exploring Our Home. Now, this is from Tan Books. It is a Catholic publishing company, and it focuses on science in a Christian Catholic way, and I like that. I like that because, you know, a lot of the early scientists that made a lot of the discoveries about our Earth and about our world and about mapping and about the weather and things like that were actually early Christian Catholic men and women that kind of shaped a lot of the discoveries in science at the time of, you know, before, you know, the Middle Ages and all of that kind of stuff, and the Renaissance and all that. So our earth science is going to be covering, we are going to be going through, and I'm just going to kind of give you, this text is really great because it has like really beautiful, like, look how amazing the illustrations are. Even if you're not Catholic, I think if you're Christian, I don't think there would be anything that really contradicts the Christian faith if you're not Catholic. But these are just the most beautiful illustrations, like just the photos, I mean, look at that. Like, it's just such a colorful, beautiful book. And I really, really love that it can give me a way that I can introduce the earth sciences in a kind of comprehensive way, and then we again do the deep dives with the Good and the Beautiful curriculum. So this specific spine curriculum covers Spaceship Earth, which is all about like how Earth is involved in space. It talks about the water cycle, it talks about the weather, climate, biomes, and earth conservation. So those are the kinds of things that it covers in its curriculum. Now, it also comes with 2 little workbooks that give you some really good worksheets and pages that you can use as well. Now, this curriculum you could use on its own without any unit studies from the Good and the Beautiful. You don't need to supplement with anything, really. It is very comprehensive. But I love to do the deep diving, especially my kids. We really love the Good and the Beautiful. So this year, for our deeper dives, we are going to be doing 4 different science unit studies. 1 unit study per 3 to 4 months, or actually probably 2 to 3 months. We're going to be doing a science unit study. So what we've chosen to do is we are going to be going with space unit study from the Good and the Beautiful. We're going to be doing geology, which is the study of rocks from the Good and the Beautiful. And we're going to do 2 other Good and the Beautiful unit studies. The other one is called Water in Our World, which is, and I don't have it here because the Good and the Beautiful is actually revamping this curriculum and coming out with a new curriculum. So I'm hoping that by the time we get to the beginning of next year, they would have already released the Water in Our World curriculum, the updated version. So we're still waiting on that. And then the last one we're going to be doing is the Climate Good and the Beautiful Science Unit. Again, that one is still yet to be released, the updated version. So we're still waiting on that as well. As soon as it comes out, I cannot wait to do a flip through, do a video for you guys to show you how it is. But I'm sure that the Good and the Beautiful is creating some awesomeness with those 2 unit studies. All right, guys, so for art, which is my last subject that I teach on Fridays, we are going to be doing a couple of things differently this year. So what I like to teach them, the 3 things that I really like to focus on when I am teaching art is artists. I like them to learn about the famous artists that existed in the world and in history. I like to teach them the elements of art. And this year, I want to add the history of art, because how is it that art even developed, you know? So what we started with last year was we focused on the elements of art. So we just focused on artists of the month and the elements of art. So what I used for studying the elements of art is the Evan Moore How to Teach Art to Children. I absolutely love this little book. It comes in 2 different versions. You'll see like a different cover in the older versions, I believe. But this is a great little resource that gives you like about a little under 100 projects that help you to develop the knowledge on the different forms of art. So this book covers line, shape, color, value, texture, form, and space. And what I love about it is that it's also, again, very colorful, comes with little worksheets that you can make photocopies of, and it takes each of the elements of art and gives you some creative ideas. It first talks about what that element is. It gives you a definition, and then it gives you like little projects that you can do to study that specific element of art. So we started this book actually last year, and we got all the way up to texture. So what we're going to be doing this year is, for the first 2 months of our school year, we're going to study form in the month of August and shape in the month of September. And then that is going to get us to covering every element of art from last year to this year. So with this element, what I will probably do is 2 projects in the month of August to study the element of form, and 2 projects in the month of September to study the element of space, okay, in art. Then we're going to be doing 1 artist a month. So what do I like to use for the artist of the month? I like to do for that just something simple. So we pretty much introduce that artist. I usually play like a little YouTube video that talks about the artist, and then I like to use the Mike Venezia books to learn more about that artist of the month. Now remember, I spread this out through the entire 4 weeks. So we do a little bit every single time we get together for art. So we do, like, we read one of the Mike Venezia books on that specific artist. And then I like to do a project that has to do with that artist. So there's a couple of resources I want to share with you that I love to use for art. They are subscription based, but they give you not only projects to do for the elements of art, but for the seasons and for the different famous artists. I like to use Deep Space Sparkle, which I will show you up here. I like to use, what else? Yellow Spot Sun has some great projects and live classes. I love the live classes because, like I said, I'm not an art teacher. So if I can outsource art to a live class that they can watch on the computer or a pre-recorded class, I'm all about that. The third one I just signed up for this year is Masterpiece Society. They have some really great art projects that include not only the famous artists, but they also include different, like if you have a seasonal art project that you want to do with your children, they have great art classes for that. They also have for the elements of art as well that you could do a project for. So I'm really excited to use this resource. I will let you know and give you a further review on it once we start it. If that's something that you guys want to see, I will definitely do that. And I'm excited about using those 3 resources to kind of supplement what we will be doing. All right, so the next thing I like to do with my kids for the Artist of the Month is to look at the different works of art that artist has created. And I found this great resource. It's from Charlotte Mason, and they are called Picture Study Portfolios. I really love it because it comes in this little folder, and inside you will find some high quality images that artist has created. And so what the child will do is you will put this in front of the child, and we all sit silently for like 5 minutes or so and just observe the painting. You know, look at the colors, look at whatever emotion that you may feel when you look at the painting, notice details about it, you know, what you think the painter was trying to convey when they painted that specific work, all those kinds of things. And so you spend the 5 minutes observing, and then we have a discussion about it. We talk about it. And then after that, we like to kind of read about what that painting meant to the specific artist. So what I love about these portfolios is it comes with these really high quality images of each of the works. They're just great, and they're like really hard, you know, durable paper. But it comes with, I think, about like 10 or so images, and then it comes with this little book, and the book has a biography about the artist. It has information about each of the paintings that come with the portfolio, and it helps you to do your picture study even more efficiently and effectively because you see that it has a description of what that painting is and why the artist created it. So after we do our observation and we have our discussion, we kind of go into, okay, what does the book say about that specific painting? So this is another great way to kind of bring that Artist of the Month alive. And so this year, each month, we will be studying a different artist, and we will be doing our picture study at the same time with that. Now, after we have done our August and September elements of the month, we're going to switch gears and start to look at the actual history of art. So what is the history of art? How did art develop over time? Who were the first artists? You know, those kinds of things. So I found this really cool curriculum on christianbook.com, and it's called The History of Art, Creation to Contemporary. And this is from Veritas Press. And it comes with these really cool, I'm trying to find them. Oh, I found them. It comes with these really cool cards that go along with the curriculum. So this is just the student book that has a lot of the information that you could read to them, along with some worksheets that have to do with whatever you're studying. But so these cards come from, you know, they're very high quality cards. The only thing I wasn't really happy about is it didn't come with a little case. So it's fine though. I put it in a little envelope, it's no big deal. But what is great about it is it starts with art from the very, very beginning. It talks about, this starts with prehistoric creation to 3000 BC. And it talks about how in the beginning, the most famous cave paintings were found, and that's kind of where the first art developed in 1940 by young boys looking for their dog. The Lascaux caves in southwestern France contain nearly 2,000 paintings of animals, people, and abstract shapes. And it talks about how these are the kind of like the first prehistoric sculptures that were created. And these cards are really fun because I have never seen something that covers the history of art this way. And I really love it because it's important that we know not just like all these famous painters and all of this stuff and all these different styles of paintings and stuff, but where did it actually begin and how has art progressed over time? So I think this is going to be really fun once we're done studying the elements of art to kind of get into. I'm also going to try to see if I can find some projects that link up with this that maybe we can do as well in some of the resources that I've already shared, or just kind of look them up. So I thought this would be a really great way to incorporate art. Now I also include not only this, like we're probably not going to do all of the history of art cards in one year. We might need to split it between, you know, this year and next year, but that's totally fine for me because I also like to incorporate in art seasonal stuff. So during Christmas time, we like to do a lot of art that has to do with the Nutcracker or different scenes from the Nativity, things like that. In Easter, the same thing. I like to do some seasonal things for fall and seasonal projects for fall, all that kind of stuff. So I kind of weave all of that in at the same time. So just because you see all of this, that doesn't mean we do it all in one year. I don't put myself with a lot of, I don't put a lot of pressure on myself to get every single thing done by the end of the year. These things for me are more about exposing the children to really great information about art and about history, and for them to get that exposure. That's my main goal when it comes to art and when it comes to all the other family subjects that I've covered. So other than that, that's pretty much it for our family subjects. My next video that I'm going to share with you soon is going to be our morning time. So we do a morning time every morning, Monday through Thursday, where I like to loop more subjects in, and it's a great way to really get a lot of more subjects into your homeschool day without having the stress of, you know, having homeschool from like 9 to 6 o'clock at night, right? So I will be sharing that with you guys in a separate video, but for now, thank you so much for watching, and I will leave all of the links for all of the curriculum below, along with the list of what I'm using, so you guys can go ahead and get those items if you like them. And that's it. If you love these videos, please hit the like button, subscribe. I will see you in the next video. Bye-bye.
You're my heart's desire. I just wanna love you, just wanna hold